the Iowa Democratic Party decided to employ a new application.
Organizers are blaming the delay on a coding glitch.
Because this is an epic failure by the Iowa State Democratic Party.
And as I saw this unfold, it hit me that this was not being covered appropriately. Let's get this thing over with so I can get some dinner. Hey guys, and welcome back to the third Mockus Devlog and of course my YouTube channel. Today we're going to take it all the way back to where it began, where the project, the Iowa Mockus, was born. And so let's not waste any time and get right into it. On February 3rd, 2020, the Iowa caucuses were to kick off the first in the nation primary election contest for the 2020 Democratic election. Now, of course, as you know, there were many candidates at this point, and so this contest was considered extremely important for deciding the tone of the race moving forward. And all the candidates had spent very, very large sums of money on this race trying to win. The Iowa Democratic Party decided to employ a new application this year, which in my opinion was actually a good idea. It's the kind of thing that could be improved both in terms of efficiency and in transparency if utilizing an application platform. Unfortunately, as we all know, the app did not exactly perform the way it was supposed to on the night, and you get this.
Organizers are blaming the delay on a coding glitch.
And of course, in the aftermath of this glitch, there was the usual righteous indignation from the usual suspects on CNN and so on.
We don't have results, but we have news about why we don't have results. And I'm only being sarcastic because this is an epic failure by the Iowa State Democratic Party, which is all but assured that no matter what the results are now, they're going to be questioned.
But while there were a few outlets that actually tried to cover what happened, no one really, to my knowledge, actually talked to a software engineer or someone who might have some insight into how something like this could actually fail. And as I saw this unfold over the next couple days, it hit me that this was not being covered appropriately, just period. And that the media was doing an extreme disservice to this app and to what should be a evolution of our democracy. And it wasn't long before I started thinking about it and I realized that the app that you would need to run something like this is really not that complicated at an essential level. And theoretically, I could probably build such an app in a reasonable time frame. And after a little thinking back and forth, I decided to do it. Now, I'll give the actual story of the development of the app in a future Mockus devlog, probably the next one. I really want to focus on what actually happened for this particular devlog. To the best of my knowledge, with all the research I've done, there's a few fundamental problems. The first problem is the Iowa Democratic Party was cheap. Records indicate that they spent about $60,000 hiring this company, Shadow Inc., to build this application being a native application on one's iPhone or Android phone. And quite simply, even for a relatively simple application, $60,000 is just not enough money to build something decent. And the route they chose, being a native application, actually makes the project more expensive than, for instance, a web-based application, which is what we are doing. And the other benefit to web-based application is you can access that application on any web browser. It doesn't have to be a phone. And so in this case, when many of your users are actually caucus moderators who are 50, 60 years old or older, they may not have very good usage of their smartphone or may not know how to use it very well. And it may be easier for them to pull it up on a laptop and be able to log in and work with the app on a larger screen with more real estate so they can see what they're doing. The biggest issue that seemed to plague this app really would have even precluded the user experience from mattering at all. People just couldn't log in. Now, as far as I have read, there are probably a few reasons for this. The largest one being the way that they deployed the application was very confusing.
The Shadow team also made weird rookie mistakes, like distributing the app through a testing platform that made it hard to even download. Because
the application they built was not on any of the app stores. But also, from what I read, the software they used to distribute their app, they actually used the free tier. They didn't even pay for the paid tier that would have allowed them to deploy it more smoothly. And likely that probably contributed to the problems they saw on the night of. And then if you manage to log in at all, the third problem seems to be that the user experience was not very good. And it was a little difficult to navigate the app, to understand what was what, to get around it, so on and so forth. This part we don't really have a whole lot of evidence from. I believe everyone who used the app was technically under some sort of an NDA, so they're not really even allowed to talk about it. All we know was that the user experience was just not very good and it was hard to use the app, even if you logged in. And then the final problem here was the fact that they didn't really do a dry run, as far as I can tell. They launched the app and just ran the caucus kind of by the seat of their pants, and they never really did a real beta. I can't exactly say why. I can speculate, and I would speculate that likely because they built this very cheap, this thing was kind of coming in at the last minute, and it wasn't even ready until maybe a week before the caucus was actually supposed to happen. And just based off my experience, I've been working on this part-time with a little bit of contribution help from a friend of mine, and it's taken me several months so far, but just given that, it's something that clearly would have needed a bigger budget and more time to be done properly. And I think that probably was the crux of the issue. So moving on from what actually happened, the main thing I want to talk about is why this is important to me. Now, personally, obviously, I love technology. I'm a programmer. I enjoy creating technology, and I've really always been fascinated with technology, even from a very young age. You can ask my parents and they'd tell you that I would say I wanted to be an inventor as a kid. And I think that was kind of my way of saying someone who works with technology and invents technology. And so to me, this failure is really tragic. And it's even more tragic that it wasn't even covered properly. And no one asks someone like me, who's an actual software engineer, what might have happened. Because I think technology has the real opportunity to materially affect in a positive way our democracy. And I believe there is potential for technology to make our democratic expression more efficient and more transparent and more secure. And when I was designing the Iowa Mockus app, I was designing with these principles in mind, that it would be easy to use and of course would provide transparency to all of the interested parties involved. And that's why a key decision of my app, and I have no idea if they did this in their app or not, I have no idea, in my opinion, this should have been in the app, is that votes, when they are submitted by the people who run the precincts, are supposed to be verified by all the precinct captains who represent the candidates. That way, if the candidates have different counts, they can raise the issue and they don't have the wrong counts being submitted on their behalf without being able to see it. So bottom line, I decided to build this app because I felt like, frankly, I could probably do it better and in a reasonable amount of time. And obviously I'm just doing it on my own time, so I'm not charging anyone anything for it. And really, this is it's a proof of concept that we shouldn't be scared of having technology in our democracy, and that as long as it's done well, it will actually improve the quality of our democracy. So moving on, before we get to the board update, and I'm actually going to show you some new features I've built in the time since the last devlog, I want to just make it clear how you as an individual can help get this project to be seen by more people so that it can affect more people and hopefully bring this message that we can have really high quality technology in our democracy to more people. The biggest thing you can do is honestly just share it. There's no profit motive in this for me. I'm not asking anyone for any money. All I'm asking is for people's information, and even then they don't have to give that to me at all. But if you can share this and get it seen by more people so that more people know what's going on, that hopefully will make the live stream more impactful and ultimately the project more impactful. Related to that, if you happen to know anyone in the media or in large forums or other groups who would be interested in hearing about this project, I would be eternally grateful if you could connect me with those people so I have an opportunity to pitch them this concept to see if they'd be interested in covering it as a story. And then finally, for the actual live stream itself, we're going to need real human volunteers to be the precinct captains in the actual Mockus. Essentially what this means, you'll sign up via my website. I'll create an account for you in the Mockus, and you'll log into the app while we're running the live stream and verify your candidate's vote totals when they're submitted. It's really quite simple. It should really only take you a couple minutes during the live stream. You just have to be available to input those commands when your precinct has submitted its votes. And of course, it's obligatory, but if you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed to this channel or liked this video, those two things would be really impactful as well. I'm trying to get this channel to 100 subscribers as my first milestone, because at that milestone, I get to claim youtube.com/SpyFy, which would really help with me being able to tell people where to find me. And the more likes videos like this get, the more YouTube thinks it's a valuable video, and the more likely it is to actually recommend it to other people. So with that said, I'm going to send you to the board and we'll show you the new features. All right, it's been a good couple weeks for the Mockus here. We completed a nice big feature, admin management. I'm going to show you that today. And Brandon finished up work on the candidate card. However, we're still doing the review and QA on that, so that's not quite ready yet. But today I'm going to show you the new admin controls. So without further ado, let's get this thing over with so I can get some dinner. All right, so let's start by logging in as an admin here. And welcome to the new admin page. You can see here there are two sections, one for managing the Mockuses. These are like the overarching election data objects that hold all the references to all the other stuff that goes into them. And then we have the users here. You can see these are our test users, myself and Brandon, and then two users we can just log into to test functionality. We can create new users. Let's create a new captain. Boom. Assign him to a different precinct. We'll just call him El Capitan. And let's call him El Capitan at gmail.com. And then we'll assign him some candidates. Let's say he's going to rep Warren and Yang and Steyer. Boom. And so, yeah, there we go. We just added a new user, and I could do that as many times as I want. And if I refresh the page, he'll still be there because he's on the server. Now, moving on, we have these Mockuses. I have set up this mock Mockus to go through September 1st. This is just for our development purposes, but I can go ahead and create a new one. And I'll just go 2 precincts. We'll give it a start date of October 1st. And we'll go to October 2nd. You know what? Let's give him a better name. Boom. As you can see, we just created a new one here. Now, these delegate counts don't quite matter just yet. Once the candidate card is finished, I'll be building out the precinct API, which will sort of flush out all of this behavior on the back end. But you can see the new Mockus is there. And if we go ahead and we want to create an, actually, you know what? Let's just edit an existing user and say, well, assign him to the new Mockus. Boom. Now he's assigned to a different Mockus, so he won't be able to actually see the user interface if his Mockus is not live at the moment. So that's the new admin page. Obviously, key functionality for those of us who are going to be running the Mockus on the live stream night. But now I'm going to take you to the board and show you what's coming up next. All right, and here's the board. Since the last time I did one of these updates, I believe the Mockus API was the last thing to be completed. So we've got 4 additional cards finished. This is all the stuff for the user management side of the admin page. And then, of course, as you can see in QA, we have the candidate card V1. This is a huge part of the app, as I've said before, and we're working through the final kinks, and that should be merged for the next update. And so in the next update, you can expect the precinct API will most likely be finished. I believe Brandon will probably be working on the precinct card, which is the key component for the results page. And then if the precinct API is done, I will probably be working on the admin password functionality after that. But broadly speaking, in the next update, you'll actually see the application in action. And that's my goal with the next update, is to actually just give you a tour of the application and show you how it works. Because the way this thing's built is basically all going to come together right at the same time. So, and then looking at this at a larger picture, you can see in the backlog, we've got some more items here. This stuff here, anything error handling and below is optional. This is not necessary for this thing to be complete in my mind, but it's stuff I'd like to do if we have the time. These things are definitely need to happen. And there's probably one or two other things that will come up between now and when we're actually finished. I know this project has taken longer than I anticipated, but honestly, at the end of this, we're going to have a really solid piece of software, and I'm really proud of it so far, and I really just cannot wait to see it all come together at the end. And like I said, the way this thing is architected, it's really going to come together all at the same time so quickly. Anyways, that's it for this update. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you are looking forward to the features coming up. I know I am really excited about it, and I really just can't wait to see this thing working in one piece. If you enjoyed this video and you want to help us out, again, please share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, whatever other platform you use. Give this video a like and definitely hit that subscribe button. That really helps us out the most, more than anything else. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.